All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call the Marion Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order. So first thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. Fine. Time is 7:02. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meetings are being audio and video recorded. Please silence your cell phones. Anyone wishing to address the board can do so by coming up to the microphone clearly. State your name and address. Sign in if you want to make a public comment. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the sewer, or the Act 537. Hydroterra will be having a presentation for us tonight.
And also pass the microphone down to them.
I don't know if I need this or not. I'm usually pretty loud. I think I believe I see some of you at a meeting. My name is Joe Bolvez. I am principal at Hydroterra Professionals. We were engaged in the township to help you all out with the sewer project in the township. We have a brief presentation here for you this evening, and I'd like to share that with you. Before we get through this, I'd like to ask you all the questions at the end. A bit of information here to share with you all, and hopefully it goes faster and smoother. If you can just wait until we get to the end. Okay? Larry, is that better? I'm not good with these mics, but let's see here. This should work.
Hold on.
Here's got it.
There you go.
Okay, Peter,
Well, try the clicker again. Yeah, no dice. Okay, just tell me when you want to advance.
Go ahead to the first slide there. This is the agenda for this evening. Obviously, we want to get in front of you all to review the sewer project, some of the previous analysis that was performed, and some of the planning studies that were performed for the project. We wanted to give you an update on the current design and the grants funding status. We wanted to identify the main tasks that were remaining for the design and steps forward for the construction project. We also wanted to discuss some of the funding strategies and the existing timeline. Now, I not have one. That was okay. So back in 2022. Township engaged Hydroterra Professionals to perform three things. The first thing was to engage with the township and reevaluate the costs that were suggested by the previous engineer. That's the engineer that wrote the Act 537 plan for the township. We came in and we evaluated that 2019 cost that was originally set for almost $5 million. We took a look at the sewer routing that they proposed, the infrastructure that was proposed as part of that, and we estimated a cost based on just real rough routing that escalates to not be $5 million, but it was more likely $10 million. That was back in 2022. Again,
Yeah, was working.
Second thing that we're engaged to do is to evaluate some alternatives. For those of you that were aware of the existing 537 plan, it was a gravity sewer system, and it used a conventional pumping station to lift it up and into the Walnut Store sewer area. See some heads out there shaking no. I'm not sure what that means, but I can promise you that's what the result of that study was. It read it upside down and inside out. So we looked at a couple different alternatives. We looked at construction of some small or a small package treatment plant just to handle the area of Stroudsburg. We also looked at a low pressure sewer system that would carry the sewer down to the Wilmstor Sewer Authority and pump it into that trunk line. We also were engaged with the township to meet with DEP and help maintain compliance with a consent order that was issued to the township. When we were there, we had talked about doing a special study. For those of you that don't understand or don't know what a special study is, it's basically a reduced scope Act 537 one. And we suggested that we do a study to look at a pressure alternative or low pressure sewer design. But DEP doesn't just let you submit documents suggesting that a low pressure sewer design would work. They want you to go back and look at alternatives, look at costs, and all of that comes under a special, they call it an Act 537 special study. So we wound up completing that special study. If you can get me again. The first part of that process, essentially, not the first part of that special study, but the process was to go out and do an EDU analysis. So the EDU analysis really was required so we could understand how big the sewer system needed to be, how far it would stretch and reach out into the public areas. It was used to try and determine what the future demand on the system might be from potential growth in the system, in the township. And it also helped us estimate the low pressure sewer system cost. Back when we did the EDU analysis, it was determined that there were 233 lots in the area at that point, and approximately 267 EDUs. There might be some question on what is an EDU. An EDU is essentially one dwelling unit, one single family home. So there are some parcels and buildings in the district that are large enough where they could hold two homes. Or maybe it's a triplex of apartments or something. Maybe it's a hotel. So, like a hotel might be 15 EDUs. A duplex might be 2 EDUs. So we did an EDU analysis to determine just how many equivalent dwelling units were out there. And essentially, if you could hit that one time. Here's the map that we had come up with the number of dwelling units. I know the coloring isn't the best here, but for those of you that can see the yellow parcels, these were included in the Act 537 plan that was prepared by the previous engineer. The yellow parcels would indicate 0 EDUs. Maybe there are farm lots or undeveloped lots that are out there. Majority of the colors is that tan color, that's 1 EDU. And then there's a slightly brown color, and my eyes aren't that good, but that's looks like 2 to 3 EDUs. And finally, there's a red color that suggests a number of EDUs. I'm not sure what that number, 8 to 15, 9 to 15. So we put this study together just to try and understand how big the sewer system would have to be to address the existing sewer demand, plus consider a little bit of growth for some future sewer demand. Peter, if you could. Talked about the special study. We actually went in and met with Pennsylvania DEP in March of 2023. We talked about what some of the thoughts were at that point, and we shared Peter, two of the previous supervisors and the previous administrator met with DEP, and we talked about what might be a better alternative to the community. A better alternative was the low pressure sewer alternative. as compared to the more expensive gravity sewer line. And DEP basically gave us a green light to go ahead and prepare a special study focusing on the low pressure system. It was drafted and submitted to the DEP, and then I believe, about a year and a half ago, we all met in this room again, and we kind of rolled out a plan for the low pressure sewer system. No comments were filed with the township, so we then went ahead after that public comment period, and we submitted it to Pennsylvania DEP, and in January 2024, a special study was approved. Basically took the place of or supplemented the previous Act 537 plan. Yeah, we kind of talked about this one. All right. So some of the results or things that the special study accomplished that I feel was a benefit to the township is that once we put the special study together, say, the Act 537 plan, the previously submitted Act 547 plan, the township was required to come up with a well protection ordinance. Through the special study, we were able to get that eliminated from the plan. It also allowed us to revise the sewer management program and come up with a program that would allow easier collection of data and resulted in a number of people that had one of my systems getting their system maintained shortly thereafter. The biggest thing here is it actually considered the public sewer system financially unfeasible without significant grant funding. That's kind of important because, we had gone through and done a lot of work to date. And the thought was if we can get some grants to cover parts of the design and hopefully the construction part, we could bring the cost down to what would be considered reasonable Pennsylvania DEP. Special study talks about what that reasonable figure is. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it is in that special study. And like I said, right now, it's considered financially unfeasible without substantial grant funding. During this special study, we're also able to go in and revise some of the Pennsylvania DEP approved milestones for completion. Essentially, we were able to negotiate securing the grants for project design, which added about a year to the project. We're also able to negotiate submittal and securing grants for construction, which added probably another year and a half to the project. This has been updated since, but according to this milestone, the project would need to be completed in 2028. So after we met with DEP, or I should say while we were meeting with DEP, particularly from our office and myself, put together a 2022 LSA grant package. That grant application was applied for a total sum of $458,666. That was intended to cover the complete design and permitting of the sewer system. We did get an award. The township got an award based on that grant application. However, the award was $105,650. So naturally, we had to go back in and reduce our scope of work because there'd be no way that we could do $458,000 worth of work for $105,000. And the scope, reducing the scope reduction included geotechnical analysis along Canal Road. It included a physical survey along Canal Road. It also included conceptual and preliminary design services associated with that low pressure sewer system. allowed us to get some information about the parcels and understand approximately where the services might need to be for each one of those parcels. The engineering fees basically matched that grant award. And as we were working our way through that grant here, we applied for the 2023 LSA grant. At that point, we had reduced our design estimate from the original $450-some thousand down to $220,000 to complete the design. Again, unfortunately, we did get a grant award, but it was only for, $69,570. And as you can imagine, we had to reduce our scope of work for that project as well. But we were able to get through a preliminary low pressure design, understand even better where the grinder pumps the services for the individual grinder pumps may be located. We better understood the sewer route, and we came up with a preliminary design of the low pressure sewer system that would connect into the Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority interceptor. So at the tail end of the project, well, got a look at this, installed the low pressure force main all the way down Canal Road, across the Topolhocken, and entered into the Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority interceptor. So there's significant design at the tail end of this. Other part of the design is generally a small diameter pipe. Down here where we get into the connection in the Wilmsdorf, it changed a little bit because now it's a gravity sewer and it has to have a meter bit in there for metering sewer flow and what have you. We were able to complete that part of the project under that grant. And what you see here on the screen now is the revised service area, or I should say the revised phasing with the low pressure sewer system. You can see in blue, everything south of 422 is considered in the first phase of the sewer plan, very similar to the way it's presented in the Act 537 plan. However, the northern side of 422, where most of the commercial parcels were, we spoke with DEP and it was determined that that could be eliminated from that first phase. And the reason being is that there is a crossing, I don't know if the corner's gonna work or not, but let's see if it does. There's a crossing right down here. Maybe that road. Yeah, Sheridan Road. There's a crossing of Route 422 that would be quite expensive. To have to be directional drilling underneath 422. And for the number of EDUs that would connect in there, it was thought that that would probably be too expensive. We feel like we can knock the total price of the project down. We could also be shaving off a couple of the EDUs from the design. Peter, please. So we were able to get through what I feel is a substantial part of the design for the grant money that was awarded. I know for a fact that there won't be any other design grant money available at this point, because we have basically executed and moved forward with the project. Most of all the grant vendors will not be able to offer another grant. We're going to get 2 design grants, and some of the items that still need to be completed as part of the design are some of the permit applications. That would be for some local roads. It would be for state, like highway occupancy permits, if there's any. I think we eliminated that, but also the DEP permits for crossing under the stream, the Copahocket Stream, and there's what they call a water quality management permit, which essentially allows the township to construct a low pressure sewer system serving 200 EDUs. There's also a pipeline crossing. So there's a substantial amount of work put together an application for that utility crossing as well. We still need to finalize the design and the specification yet. There's a number of easements that are going to have to be acquired for this low pressure sewer system. There's a meter pit and the Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority interceptor connection. And offering the plan set to Wilmsdorf for their review. I'm sure they'll have some sort of comments on how we design the connection to their system. So there's still a substantial lift here for completion of the design, and you can see our proposed cost of $150 to get the design. Peter, please. Unfortunately, that 155 doesn't get us to construction. There are a couple other items that I wanted to share with the board and the audience here that are required. It's difficult for us to put a number on it because there's going to be some back and forth with Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority with regards to sewer standards. They're going to have some set standards that they want the township to meet. So a set of standards will have to be developed by the township, suggesting what can be put into the sewer system, what can't be put into the sewer system. Talk about operation and maintenance of the low pressure grinder pumps. Talk about the use of multi-EDP properties for those that have higher than normal connection flow rates, and the use of commercial facilities on the low pressure sewer system. We also need to round out a discussion with the Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority. Unfortunately, we couldn't put a number on that either because we don't know how cooperative they'll be, how many meetings we'll need to attend or township will need to attend. But there still are some unanswered questions out there. There is a draft agreement that Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority has from the township suggesting a certain amount of capacity and the methodology for building, but that is not finalized yet. So there's still some work associated with that. There's also how we're going to come up with the financing assistance. You know, what kind of tapping fees would be associated with the projects, user fees. User fees might be dictated by the Wilmsdorf Sewer Authority, but the thought was maybe a bulk sewer agreement might work here. Again, we don't know until we get Wilmsdorf finalized. And then, you know, the previous price for the design will get us all the way up to and ready to bid the project. But it would not get us through the bidding phase, answering questions during the bids, evaluating the bids, and then whatever construction services would be required to build the system. That certainly will require a lot of back and forth with the township, understand what direction they would like to go. You know, where maybe some of the professional fees can be picked up by some other folks, help reduce the cost. And lastly, there's the individual property sewer service design. So that's kind of, I won't say easy for us to do, but again, we would be working on behalf of the township, so it wouldn't be fair for us to come out and, you know, work with each one of you all and build a township for that. So that would be a kind of out of scope project. again, I don't know what that number is, but we certainly could come up with something. So there's some additional, grants that are out there or could become available in the near future. And most of those are related to construction. And Kimberly has them listed here as LSA, Local Service Account Category 4 program. And then there is an LSA statewide program. Both of those are funded by gambling in the state of Pennsylvania. And then the last one is a potential grant, but generally it's a low interest loan, and that's from Penvest. So we continue to look at these additional financing and grants that are available to help reduce the cost of the design and construction for this low pressure sewer system. Is it good? So that's our presentation. I tried to get as much information out to you all as quick as I could. You can see up there that my name and numbers up there, my email's up there. Design, he's also contacted this project. But at this point, I guess I'd like to ask the board if there's any questions, and then we could maybe open it up to the audience.
So open it up to the audience. And there's a microphone there. That way you don't have to juggle the microphone for anybody that would like to ask a question.
Do you have any questions about low pressure design? We have a lady in the back. If you'd like to come up. Can you come up to the microphone?
Yeah, she has to come up,
Yeah,
sign in.
be able to hear you on the recording if you don't.
$10 million.
That was
And then the other fee was $5 million.
Okay. So there was a $5 million fee that was presented to the township in 2018. So if you look at the price on recognition, and there was no final design, there wasn't even a rough design in that Act 537 plan. We estimated that at $10 million.
And right now we have 170,000 in grants.
Right now
we've received about 170.
At this present moment, we have 9,900,000 that we have to come up with.
Hold on. Time out a second. If you want to take that, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll explain it.
No, it's all right.
Yeah. So the $9 million figure or the $10 million figure, whatever figure you want to put on it, is shovel in the ground. We're not there yet. What we have gotten grants for is the preliminary stages of things that we have to go through per the state mandate, getting things planned, getting things documented, doing the soil analysis. If you remember earlier in the year, we had a bunch of people going out and drilling holes next to the road. It's figuring out what we can do. And that's actually ultimately what led us to pivot from the gravity system to a low pressure, is we found soil samples with bedrock at about 4 feet through most of the township, which at some points the sewer system was supposed to go down in excess of 20 feet, which added literal millions of dollars to the project. So we're not signed on for the $9 or $10 million at this point. That's a rough figure of, when push comes to shove, what it's actually going to cost to put shovel in the ground and put sewer system in. However, it is prefaced in the plan update and through multiple conversations with the DEP that if we can't get enough grants to bring that number down to a point where it divides nicely across the households that are affected by this, we can't do it. Yeah, that's everybody, myself, Jesse. Yeah, let's just put it. Yeah, let me put it this way. Any number that's pants on head crazy is not going to get signed off by the board. Like, full stop. I will not sign off on that. Jesse will not sign off on that. Whoever the third supervisor is will not sign off on that.
I should point out that when we did the special study,
Joe,
we talked to, the special study.
Ma'am, you need to sign in here, so when I do the note.
We talked to township supervisors a lot about that special study. And they made it known to me that they wouldn't approve anything. The township residents in a bad way from a financial standpoint. So we, in the very end of the special study, there's a paragraph in there that outlines the cost, and you can correct your Peter, but the cost was close to 15 million. Okay. And when we did the calculation based on the number of EDUs right now, it would have been astronomical. If you remember that slide that we had back under the special study, we indicated that project was not feasible unless substantial grant money could be obtained. So, you know, you can thank your current supervisor here for that, because he stuck hard to his roots. He made sure it got in that special study, and that's the way that special study was approved. Doesn't mean you can stop now. Otherwise, it'd be non-compliant with the consent orders out there. But we need to at least get to the point where you're getting, here's what it's going to cost to do a project. Prove that it's financially feasible for construction. Yes, sir, right here.
Listen, Bob, you want to go first, or if you're going to be a hot minute, you want to let Jen go first? Jen, come on up.
Main Street, so first question, grants that you have applied for, so everybody understands these grants that you've been applying for. Just for you guys to do your studies, it's nothing to do with the actual, when the sewer comes through, it's gonna cover any of that. Basically, the grants have been covering your costs, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's all design related grants.
Jen, can you just talk a little louder?
Or tilt
You're
the
fine.
microphone towards you a little bit. Or just hold it, that's cool too.
Is on your new design, what I've seen is it looks like everybody along the north side of 422 and Idris have been taken out of the plan.
They've not been removed, they've been moved out. We're effectively, like, the original plan had a 1A, 1B, C sort of thing. We're effectively saying we're doing 1A, 1B, but 1B is that side with Idris, and because of the cost associated with drilling under the highway, we're going to do that as kind of a second phase and can hopefully chase separate grants for that specifically. That's the thinking on that, is because of the cost and the sort of delineation of the highway, we're going to move that out a little bit.
What essentially, is everybody on Main Street going to take the cost first?
So that will be spread out.
Yeah, so
Total design EDUs. So
Yeah.
there have to be some discussion with the township to figure out how many additional future EDUs are going to pay for the system. You know that once you build it, people are going to come. It happens everywhere.
Exactly,
Right.
and that's what I think that's one of everybody's concerns is future growth.
Right.
Are they going to be able to just come in and not pay a dime? We're all just going to.
no, they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay it.
Figure out how, because if we're taking out loans, what was it, Penn something?
Invest.
How are they going to pay some of our costs down and essentially if growth comes 5, 10 years later?
So let's say, we estimated 300 EDUs from the very beginning in our EDU analysis. Losing probably 35, 40 on the north side of 422. The total design project estimate will be divided by that 300. That's what will set the tapping fee after construction grants. So the hope is if it's a $15 million project, that we can get $10 million in grants. I don't know what we get, but there's a hope out there. All you can do is try. Say we get 10 million and it knocks it down to $5 million spread across 300 EDUs. That's what would drive that tapping fee, each homeowner. When the second phase kicked in, it would help pay down some of the debt that the township had to take for the north side of 222.
Future growth, meaning for me, is 5, 10 years down the line after town and Andrews and everybody else is hooked up, somebody comes along and decides to sell 100 acres of land, which now they can do quarter-acre lots. How do those developers get charged and pay down their price?
Just connect, because the size of our system isn't going to be great enough to allow that kind of connection. So we sized the sewer design based on 300 EDUs going down. So you can't have 400. They just wouldn't be able to connect. Now they could come in and say, well, we're going to upsize the end of this pipe. And that's a negotiation that happens. And I don't know where the finances roll out on that. But the design only allows for 300 EDUs right
This project sounds like it's got quite a ways to go yet. So
We've-
there's so many other
We've
steps.
still got a number of years to go on this. Thank you.
now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just want to hand it, Bob?
My name is Bob Nelson. I live at 160 Main Street. I used to be the co-chair of a citizens group, Citizens Against Government Encroachment. Haven't been active in the last couple of years because what we did is we facilitated the election of the supervisors and then handed the work off to them because they had standing. This was long before he got involved. Really?
You're tall enough that you're a little far away from the mic, Bob.
So I was co-chair of a group called Citizens Against Government Encroachment. We had been fighting against the sewer 10 years more.
Give or take. Yeah.
Give or take, I don't know. But we were able to facilitate the election of a bunch of supervisors who are going to carry on the work. And I'm actually pleased to see some of what you're presenting. I still believe we do not need to put a public sewer in, and I'll get to that in a moment. But when I first read the 539 plan for the gravity thing, being a non-engineer, I am a scientist, and it just didn't pass the straight face test. It just was stupid. It was very crude. So we did suggest a low pressure system, I think, years ago, because I met with some people from Lower Ohio or Township, and they had used it up there. But the plan was pushed through over 105 objections that were sent in that were never even commented. But let's get besides it. I am pleased to hear that you're working with grants, because the old term used to be funding or something, because grants are essential. You do not pay back grants for anybody who doesn't understand that. And I'm also glad to hear Peter say that the cost doesn't come down substantially for the average citizen that you'll go. Well, I'm going to suggest a process to use in parallel with your current ethics. Because I think the bureaucrats at DEP are way beyond what the statute says in their regulations. There have been two major Supreme Court decisions within the last 3 or 4 years. The first one basically, it's not as important as the second. It basically says an administrative state cannot force citizens to expend extraordinary amounts of money to clean up de minimis pollution. And in this case, there is no documented pollution. Zero pollution ever documented. The second Supreme Court decision gives the citizens even further strength. The Overbrook Wright Enterprises versus Raimondo ruled that the Chevron doctrine was dead. Now, the Chevron doctrine is a long-standing process that was put into place by a prior Supreme Court that basically says, when it comes to the interpretation of legislation, the administrative state needs to be referred to as correct when you go to court. So they deferred to the administrative state when making a decision rather than the judge making the decision. This new decision, which overturned the Chevron doctrine, says that when an administrative state creates administrative law or regulations that go beyond statutory legislation, those regulations are moot. They're illegal and they need not be complied to. And in this case, that's certainly true, since nothing in Act 537 mandates public sewer, especially when there's no evidence of pollution, no evidence of harm, and there's never been a cost-benefit analysis done of public sewer versus septic systems. It's always been one public sewer versus another, one pipe versus another. DEP, in our opinion, is clearly not adhering to the legislation as it's written. Chief Justice Roberts wrote, Chevron is overruled. Courts must exercise their independent judgment in deciding whether an agency has acted within its statutory authority. In other words, the court needs to make a decision as to whether the bureaucrats and their administrative law or regulation fits in with the statutory law. Now, a DEP further goes to threaten boards just like this, based on that administrative law. So it's kind of an interesting thing. They create this administrative law, and then they implement it as if it was intended by the legislation, and then threaten you for non-compliance. So the board should not allow themselves to be forced by a bunch of overzealous bureaucrats to tax their citizens without due cause and without recognizable benefit. I previously submitted the Supreme Court decisions to this board, and I suggest we get a competent attorney to write up appropriate actions immediately. I suggest that you enjoin DEP to stop the action. And write the brief so that you're explaining that since there is no recognizable harm, there's no pollution that can be measured. In fact, DEP's own study done about 12 years ago found that the pollution of the Tupahocket was from the farms, and there was no pollution that came from the sewers, the septic system. So I believe we need to get an injunction to block the bureaucrats and have a court of Commonwealth Court in this case, I think, judge whether or not the bureaucrats, the administrative state, is in compliance with the statute. So that can be done in parallel with your current efforts. I still believe that the public sewer is not needed. We submitted, as we said, 110 comments to prior submissions of the plan, which outlined all the arguments. And again, they were ignored in the plan submitted by Mr. Wallace 7 or 8 years ago. But I'm glad you're on board because you obviously appear competent. And I'm glad Peter's still on the board to run this effort. But in addition to striving for a no-cost public sewer, I think in parallel we can work to enjoin DEP from even being able to mandate it, because according to the statute, they cannot. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
So before we hear me?
Yeah.
So before we move on, I just want to address the two cases that Bob referenced. So we're all clear that those cases involve federal law, not state law. And specifically, with respect to the first case, essentially, the United States Supreme Court said that Congress can't draft a statute with some general purpose, right? Like, we want clean air, we want clean water, and then say, EPA, go make any regulation that you want to fulfill that purpose. And the justification from the Supreme Court was essentially, that's too broad. Congress, as the legislator, should do its job and not give all the power to executive agencies, because as you know, agencies like the FDA, the FFA, or the FAA, EPA have the ability to make law, right? Because Congress delegates that power to them. They have the ability to interpret their own law through administrative law judges, and then obviously through the executive branch, they have the power to enforce that law, right? So,
The judge, jury, and executive.
right. So the Supreme Court of the United States has said, look, our administrative state is too broad. We need to restore some of the balance of power in our government, which means that Congress, in enacting statutes, can't get away with simply legislating a purpose, then delegates to the EPA or any other federal agency to administer through regulations. Okay, so that's point one. That dealt with federal law. With respect to the second case, Bob's overall summary was correct. That Chevron deference was a court-created doctrine, I think, crafted in the 60s or 70s, when the court was more liberal, essentially stating that when an agency makes a regulation, if the court can find any rational justification for why it exists, then it's lawful, right? So even if the EPA, doesn't state the correct purpose, if we as a court can opine upon any reason why this regulation makes sense, okay, then we defer to the agency in its expertise and uphold that regulation. Again, the Supreme Court has recently said that, again, our administrative state is too big, okay? And so Congress, to the extent it feels strongly about any particular issue, needs to be legislating on it and giving explicit authority for these agencies, okay, to specifically regulate that goal. It's, Congress can no longer get away with saying, we want clean air and clean water, and EPA, go make any regulation that you want to make it happen, okay? They're basically saying, again, Congress, your job, you're elected to be the legislature, make laws, okay? With respect to what governs why we're all here, is a state act, okay, called the Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act, okay? And that act was also enacted in the 60s. That's a state law. It has been subject to constitutional challenges early in its inception after enactment that were ultimately unsuccessful. And if you read that statute, it's not particularly long, okay, but it does set forth some general goals and ultimately gives the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection the ability to make regulations towards that end, okay? And one of the things that the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection can do is identify certain communities that need to implement public sewer because, in DEP's view, not necessarily our view, but in DEP's view, the state or condition of the sewage, how the sewage is handled in that particular region is, unsafe. Okay, so I just want to make those distinctions. The Sewage Facilities Act has been challenged constitutionally. That has not been successful. DEP has ordered municipalities to implement sewer systems like this one many times before.
Thank you. Well, Peter especially knows how critical I've been of prior solicitors, so I'm very pleased and congratulate you on getting one that actually knows what he's talking about. Prior one clearly didn't. All you said is true. It is the Supreme Court decision that initially affects the federal government. And as you know, they're dismantling a lot.
Well, before I forget, let me just say this too. Okay, our Pennsylvania Supreme Court is what you would call liberal, okay? So they're more inclined to defer to, agencies like the DEP.
And they're all up for reappointment this fall. So they'll vote no, so that they won't be reappointed. Sorry. Yes, again, that's true, but I'd like them to look into the possibility of putting an injunction in against DEP to kind of stop any pressure that they put on us until there is clarification at the state level. Because the Supreme Court decisions are the law of the land, or clarification. And eventually, as you understand, most states will again adopt what the Supreme Court, because whenever you bring a subsequent court case that's against that Supreme Court decision, they're going to lose. So it'll take years, if not decades, to work out. But it always works out that the Supreme Court decision is the law of the land. My suggestion is to join these people from putting pressure on you while you continue figuring out grants. And it may give you leverage in getting more grants too. Until such time, until such time case law is developed that determines one way or another. Let's have a Commonwealth judge make the determination rather than some bureaucrat. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Bob. Al?
I'm a Bernardino, 55 Main Street, Stocksburg. On the grinder.
Yep.
How much is that gonna cost for each person?
We got to figure out pricing on that.
Well,
I don't have a figure off the top of my head, Bob.
10,000.
I don't think so. So do you know off the top of your head?
Probably 10,000 each. How much? 10,000. Somewhere around there.
I think it's on the south side of town.
But I don't understand, this is all going to get factored into the total cost. All these low pressure grinders are going to get factored into the total cost of the project. In other words, at this point, I don't think the supervisors or anybody else this side of the table is thinking that a homeowner is going to have to pay a tapping fee and then go out and purchase a grinder. There's ways to go about designing a low pressure sewer system that brings that money back in. And if we can get a construction grant, some of that could be covered under it. So, I know $10,000 sounds like a lot of money. It is, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I certainly like 10,000, but understand that that could be covered under the grant. For some people, $10,000 is nothing. People like me, I get $1,600 a month. I gotta stretch it like a rubber band to make it. And you gotta spend money for that. I'm 84 years old, gotta get a job to pay for this.
So Al, everybody in this room, myself included, $10,000 is a lot of money. That's not up for debate. Yeah.
If it breaks down, who's paying for that? You. And where the money is coming from? You. Do I look like a tree with money on it? No. If it breaks down, where do I go take a shower or take a crap or anything like that? To my neighbor? Because they ain't working.
You can come over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't put this thing here through the way it's supposed to at gravity, forget about it because it's going to cost more money than people can afford.
Even with the cost of the grinder pumps, it's still millions of dollars less than the gravity system.
No, you probably have the power to call it DEP if we can't afford it.
Well, that's what we have maintained at every step of the way. That was what was in the special study that they acknowledged. So we are setting the groundwork for this only works if we can get the kind of funding we need to make it affordable. Full stop.
But the thing is, it's a burden on the people that live in town here.
I understand that.
Because if those pumps break, you can't even get a pump or do work on it.
So there's a lot of those pumps have warranties on them. Many of them are multiple years long, 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 10 years. So this is further down the road.
Well, it costs a lot of money to take a crap. That's what it is.
Yeah. If you want to get down to the brass tacks of it like that, then yes, I suppose.
Well, my opinion, this brand here, it should be abolished.
Noted, Al. Thank you for your comment. Do you have any other comments? Please tell me it's not the trees. Please tell me it's not the trees. It's not the trees, is it?
No, it's about engineer.
Okay.
We spend all this money for the plant tree, for this year, $16,000 last month or a month before.
Mhm.
How many times we gotta pay for that?
So it's all,
The roads that are real bad. That's what we need to do.
let's talk about the sewer engineer. Yeah. So, yeah, Joe, pass the mic down. Thank you. So what we have spent so far has been distinct, although admittedly kind of similar things. Previously, we had to spend money on the creation of the actual plan itself. It takes time and effort and material to put something like that together, especially for those of you who actually did read the original Act 537 plan. It's quite large. That takes a lot of time and effort to put together. Beyond that, the next phase of that is actual planning, actually figuring out, okay, you kind of have a rough idea where you think you might want to put a pipe. Where are you actually going to put it? That requires surveying, that requires sampling, as I mentioned about the coring that we did to see where bedrock was. All of these things are time and money. So far, we've been lucky enough to get grants for pretty much all of it. We have a little bit of a shortfall that we're going to try to accumulate into next year, but the majority has been a one-to-one grant that we have gotten from the state to costs that we've incurred with the engineers. As for the statement, we're doing the roads as much as we can, as fast as we can, but a lot of the road work, if you're not familiar with it, is very expensive. To do a mile of road as a full depth, which most of our roads need, it's about $800,000 a mile. So, you want to say something?
Practically speaking, the grant money needs to be used for the specific purpose of the design work. So it's not just like we can't just get the grant money and then allocate it to a different purpose, right? The grant money was given to us from the state for the explicit purpose of funding the design of the sewer system.
Thank you. Okay. So I can't read the second person. Jen, did you sign in on the sheet or is that a different Jennifer? Okay.
There's two Jens, Jennifer
Yep.
and Jen.
Yep. Okay. So that's everybody that's signed in. Yeah. Does anybody have any additional public comments at this time? They don't have to be related to the story either. Okay. Seeing none, I'll turn it over to Jesse, who's going to run the meeting tonight.
All right. Now that HydroTerra did their presentation, thank you guys for doing that for us. I appreciate it. No, you're appreciated.
But, you guys can, if you want to go out, you can go out.
So next is letters to residents about pumping. Please pump out. I have a ordinance here I can read. The current 4-year sewage management program, SMP pumping cycle is ending soon. All properties in the township are required to have their on-lot disposal systems pumped and inspected every 4 years. If you have property that has not been pumped and inspected, please do so within the next 6 months. Failure to comply may result in penalties in accordance with the ordinance. Any questions regarding your property or pumping or the pumping process, you can contact HydroTerra professionals.
Be going out soon to anybody that has not.
And that will be going out soon to anybody that has not pumped. All right. Approval of the minutes for August 28th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting. I read them. I thought they were great. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 28th, 2025.
I'll second.
Motion made by Jesse, second by Peter. Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye.
That's it.
All right, the in progress minutes are August 24th workshop meeting. Audio is hazy and bad, so it's not done yet. September 20th, 2025 workshop meeting as well.
Just working on that one. The audio is fine.
Okay. Reports, is there any EMC report? I did not see a report.
No,
Okay.
nothing new.
Nothing beyond what we had on Saturday with
All right,
Demo State.
Marion Fire Company?
Our incidents for the month of August.
You gotta have to talk a little bit louder.
Okay, this is better.
Yeah.
We had 12 incidents in the month of August. Marion Township, 2 of those were fires, 1 was a control burn. We had 3 medical assists, and then outside of the township, from mutual aid to the surrounding areas, we had 4 fires, 1 accident, and 1 standby incident. Actually, it's all for our incident report. I do want to remind everyone, we have our Supervisor fundraiser this Saturday. We plan to have the deals ready around 10 to start giving them out, so one come on, we should have plenty. Always good, Sharon makes it, so thank you.
What do you get with the chicken?
So when you have two thighs with the meal of mac and cheese, potato chips, basically they're cookie. And you have applesauce with the meal, and then also additionally, you're gonna be having milkshakes. That's gonna be a separate, never had that PA pork show, very little milkshake. Can't call it that, there's trademark stuff going on. But it's gonna taste suspiciously similar to that. Very good. All around.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, engineering. The GIS system had a meeting with Troy. Well, the GIS system, we had a meeting with Troy and Jim from SDE. Short training sessions need to be purchased software yet to get that through Solve IT. The Saldo.
Before you move on that, Lisa, can you and Troy get the GIS stuff straightened out?
Yes, I did
month?
contact Saab IT. I need to put a ticket in, but I need to converse with Troy when they're available. So I can put that in the ticket with Saab IT, but I did discuss that with them yesterday, so.
Thanks. All right, so the Saldo, compiled and edited. The draft is ready for review, but we'll need to wait to distribute when the third supervisor is on board. Roadmaster report. He's not here tonight, on vacation. He has nothing for equipment repair. He's looking for pricing for a new brush side mower. The township can rent out for the day for $150 a day. We're getting quotes on a pole building for behind where the old shed is.
We're gonna look for grants in 2026 for that.
And we're going to look for grants in 2026 for the construction of that. Cold patch, 1 load needed for the rest of the year. Road work being done October 4th.
It's already started.
It's already started, yes. Road closure signs, we're getting quotes on those. Trade-ins, we're putting the boom mower and big truck possibly up on municipal. That should be a line item on this agenda, but
Well, that's part of the roadmaster thing.
is it?
It's
Okay.
past the public comment, so it would be something we can action on.
Okay. Crosswalks, we need to paint the crosswalks according to state regulations. The small truck looking into trading in for a newer vehicle. Pricing, working on pricing for swings, road closed signs, and barricades. Secretary, do you want to read your report? Part of it?
Basically, I'm gonna be looking into fuel cards, for the road crew, and we did approve that, August meeting. I think we discussed on Saturday, uniforms for the
Oh,
road crew.
Yeah, we're checking to see what we have, because my understanding is we have 1 large winter coat and 1 spring coat, and they were both butch sized.
Yeah.
And they don't fit Carl or John.
The PO box, after September 30th, we will no longer have. I think on Saturday, we discussed the drones on Main Street. I've been getting several calls and complaints that, they see a drone, and this drone supposedly is looking in, residents' windows. Just to let everybody know, it is not, I repeat, not the township drone. This is somebody personal drone that is out there in the township.
Ours is very large, very brightly colored, and has flashing lights on it. You can't miss it. So if it's a drone peeking in your window, best thing to do is immediately just call the police. That nice gentleman in the back there will help you try to get it figured out, but it is 100% not ours.
Right, yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows that, because if it's happening, it's not supposed to happen, and I just don't want residents to assume that it's the township, because it's not. And then I did speak to, you guys earlier about, some office help with Abby. She's road crew right now. So during the winter months when she's not out helping Carl, mow grass, and hopefully we will not get a lot of snow this winter. I can maybe use her in the office, to help
Scanning and filing.
filing and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
But I believe we will need to appoint her as assistant secretary. So, that's pretty much about it, and, the only thing is I do ask the public, when during the meetings, to keep the chatter down and to, just not talk and just wait your turn to talk, because I've been trying to get caught up in the minutes. I've been doing a lot of minutes, and some of them are really hard to hear because I can hear the chatter in the background, and I have to keep on going back in the video to see what, is being said. So I'm just pleading and requesting if everybody can just keep the chatter down, to a minimum during the meetings. So that's about it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
All right, the police report.
So he usually doesn't do it. If you want to give us the report, that'd be fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have a copy of it?
All right, in the month of June, from the first to the 30th, we pulled 972 miles, 60 hours worth, 38, so, 9 incidents. Complaints. We had 8 miscellaneous calls for service. Some of those, came to follow-up investigations for profit. We had 16 telephone assignments. We had 1 commercial residential alarm. We had 3 EMS and fire advisors, we had 9, 14 traffic stops, 12 public. We had 1 non-traffic citation on the disorderly conduct or harassment. Traffic warning for 2, so that's in separate from the 14 of the traffic stop. We had served 1 warrant. No parking tickets. There were 2 traffic accidents. 1 DUI arrest. 1 felony or misdemeanor arrest. We had 8 security checks, just meaning a welfare check, somebody called 911 open line, something of that nature. You can have any police assist, like that in normal store for 5 minutes South Albert. None of those. Motor assist, there was 1. We had 4 court appearances for the month of June.
All right, for the EMS reports, we do not have the updated versions of those, so we'll skip right to Dan Klein, the treasurer. No, those are the old ones.
It's the ones from April. They sent us the ones from April again. So, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, good evening. I gave the supervisors and secretary there were a few copies here. If you would pick one up. In the general fund account, we deposited approximately $10,000 per month of September. Currently had a balance of $184,659 in our general fund. For bills for the month of August and some of September, I wrote checks out for $51,000. Rewrite money, it pretty much stays the same. We have just about $6,000 there. For money market savings, we have $284,860. Our road district has $320,686, and our state aid money fund has $326, at $326,125. And we have LF grant account of 36,000. Giving the township's assets at $1,158,336. Please keep in mind, that's the total assets. That doesn't mean that you can take from your right pocket and put it in your left pocket. Money that's set for saving has to be used for that. Money for liquid fuels has to be used for that. Streetlight money has to be used for that. So when I tell you you have $1,158,000, that doesn't mean it's available to spend tomorrow. That's my treasurer's report.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
How much is actually available to be used
For the roads, Bob, for that question specifically, there is $320,686.58 in the road district fund. And the state aid money is also a component of that. There's $326,125.95. Those balances do not reflect the costs that we're incurring this year with doing the 4 long stretches of road. And we do want to keep a balance in there for the purposes, thank you. We do want to keep some balance in there for the purposes of sort of emergency things like we had with the culverts that washed out a couple of years back. And we have a sinkhole right now that we're still trying to figure out exactly what to do with. But the majority of that 320, I'd say more than half is going to go this year for those 4 roads that are being done.
All right, and we're going to approve the payment of the bills for 2025. I'll make that motion to approve the bills for September of 2025.
I'll second.
Made by Jesse, second by Peter. Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye. All right, I'm going to skip right down to number 1. We already talked about pumping your septic tanks out. Restoration of the current building. There's no new business on this item. We're waiting on the report, and we should have it by the
7th of
October meeting, yeah. Number 2, playground maintenance and equipment. Approved September workshop meeting, 3 swings at $100 each for a total of $300.
Just to verify that it's replacing the swings that are there.
Yes.
It's replacing the chain
Yeah.
links and the swings. Yeah.
Because I did get a call that somebody was concerned that we were gonna put like tire swings there. and
No.
whatnot.
It's just to
replacing
replace the stuff that's there that's
there.
getting worn out.
That's war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be exactly what it is.
Correct.
All right, future planning, Marion Township Community-Based Initiative, 5 to 10-year plan, broken down into 3 categories: beautification, efficiency, and capability. Number 4, short and long-term rentals. Kraft would like to get 2026 rental letters sent out by November 1st. We need to review the list with Kraft.
I did email that to you guys.
Thank you.
Number 5, joint comprehensive plan. The next meeting is to be determined.
Yeah, I got another date of October 18th, but that is when our next board meeting is, so we're kind of going back and forth right now.
They need to do it in November. I know November's hard because of Thanksgiving and everything, but they need to push it to November. October is shot for like everybody.
Okay.
Snow emergency, residents parking during a snow emergency. Cars parking on one side of the street, and we're going to discuss this with Colin, I believe, and the engineer about having
Well, we had mentioned,
multiple days.
yeah, so we had talked with the engineer and the solicitor last month. We're going to be turning that over to you guys, I think, to give us the suggestions on how that actually is codified or implemented. But the thinking here is on Main Street, because we don't have some of the parking facilities that used to be there and publicly available that are now privately held. We're going to have a system where when we declare a snow emergency, cars can park on the one side of the street one day, we'll plow the opposite side, and then we flip-flop. The following day, they park on the clean side, and then we take the plow truck through and clean the other side. So we're really getting down to the minutia of ordinance or whatever else has to be done to make that proper and official. and go through the review process of that, hopefully before the first snowflakes fly.
So that will require, like you said, an amendment to your traffic ordinance, and then the posting of signs for enforcement.
Yes, we want you to do that.
At this time, the board should authorize my office to prepare an ordinance that amends the traffic ordinance for that purpose.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Peter, second by Jesse. Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye. All right. 7, committee for the building. 5 committee member board was picked: Matthew Barnhart, Billy Coble, Beverly Brossman, Susan Peak, and Sarah Hadfield. Meeting dates, first Wednesday of every month, or every month, question mark, for the starting date. So we need to decide, based off of their availability, what day we can start their meeting so they can get the ball rolling on their meetings.
Okay. So I think, keep me honest, Lisa, we had previously authorized, when they decided whatever their meeting date was going to be in the monthly cadence, that we would advertise it. That's already been
Well,
approved.
nobody ever decided when the meeting dates
No,
were.
no, no. I think we as a board authorize that whenever what they decide what their meeting date is going to be, that we would advertise. the
Yeah,
public.
yeah.
So we don't have to take any additional action on authorizing that. Because if they say, hey, it's going to be the first Wednesday or whatever, Jesse and I have already said, like, we'll advertise it. We
Yeah.
already made that motion and went through that whole song and dance. So
Think
Well,
we need to.
Do we need
I
to
don't
make a
think-
motion for the first date so they have a meeting together, or what?
no, they decide the date, and I'll defer to Colin on this. If we've already, our part on this is advertising it so that it's a public meeting. Whether they want to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, really kind of irrelevant. They can pick that date, tell Lisa, and then Lisa will put it in the paper.
Do they all have each other's contact information?
Maybe. Oh,
No.
Lisa's
right,
been in
so
contact with them, but
Reach out to all of them, give them everybody's contact information so they can get together and have a meeting, and
Okay.
they can come up with the date. And
But does that meeting have to be advertised?
It does.
it does,
yeah.
yeah. So they got to
So
come up with a
if
date.
they say, hey, Lisa, we want to do it October 1st and we want to do it the first Wednesday of every month, then that's what we advertise. And you don't have to wait for us to approve it because we already approved you advertising it.
All right, so number 8, Conrad Weiser Soccer. They would like to move an 8x12 shed to the park. Location must be determined. We have not heard anything yet at this time. They are talking about spring of 2026.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna take this off the agenda.
take it off for now.
and just put it, you know.
Keep it in a, like a Post-it note so we don't forget about it, but it doesn't need to be talked about.
Trash ordinance, letters need to be sent out to the businesses and farmers with the change to the ordinance. Proof of trash recycling needs to be sent to the township. Number 10, cancellation of credit cards. Irene Zelensky's credit card needs to be canceled. Was that done yet?
We never approved it.
I thought we did, but
I thought so
I'll make
too.
the
I
motion.
think we did.
We had authorized her being removed from the account, but if we need to be specific to the point of having her credit card canceled, then I'll make the motion to cancel Irene Selesky's credit card for the township.
And I'll second it.
Motion made by Peter, second by Jesse. Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye.
Almost changed to number 9 for the trash.
So do you want to handle it or do you want me to
You
handle it?
go for it.
Okay, so for businesses and farms, our original trash ordinance did not actually require any sort of proof around trash collection or recycling. The only thing that was in there was a dumpster exemption. So what we ultimately did is we got rid of the need for a dumpster exemption and changed it so that everybody, whether you're a business or a farm or a residence, you have to have some form of trash collection and recycling. So if you're a residence, everybody's on the bulk township hauling thing. Businesses and agriculture works a little differently. And there was a little bit of, I'll say, ambiguity in the original ordinance around that, which we sort of tightened the language around. For you and I on our houses, it's JP Mascaro because that's what the bulk contract is. Residential versus commercial. Thank you, Jesse. But for if you have a farm or something like that, and you maybe historically didn't have any recycling collection, that is something that you would have to get and provide proof of that to the township so that we know you're within compliance. No, it's only if you're zoned agriculture and you're doing it as a business. But I too have chickens and I too am on the residential thing. So no, yeah. Yeah, it's probably the difference between commercial versus otherwise. So if there's people that are residences that are not having trash collected, that's, yeah. So that's maybe something we have to talk to JP Mascaro about, because the way the ordinance is every residence is required to have trash and recycling collection. There's no exceptions if ands or buts there. Call into the township office and let Lisa know. Or also side note.
Well, they might be getting a bill and going into collection, so you don't know.
It's been in the safe, but
All right, number 11, appointment of a new board of supervisor. We interviewed Todd Crick and Dennis Warner. Dennis Warner.
do you want to start the discussion?
Sure. Both interviews went very well. It's a hard decision either way. My pick for the two would definitely be Dennis Warner, and it's nothing to do with a personal thing at all. It's just the experience, engineering degree. He handles himself super well. So with that being said, my pick is Dennis Warner.
Yeah, I want to kind of echo that sentiment too, that both candidates, both Dennis and Todd, are well suited for this. They both have the right temperament, the right mindsets. They both interviewed very well. And both names are on the ballot, which is why we kind of did the interview process the way we did. I'm confident that either one would be able to do a very, very good job as a board member. But again, like you said, the engineering experience, I think, is going to be beneficial on what we're going to be facing in the next 6 to 18 months, especially when it comes to the stuff with the Act 537. So I'm inclined. Go ahead.
Just good. As a point of clarification, this supervisor, the supervisor's term only lasts until the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. That's,
And then the election.
yeah, so that's actually a very, very good point. So we're obviously giving this the kind of care and evaluation that it needs, but this is not something that is going to supersede or override the election that's happening. Whoever is elected, whether it's Todd or whether it's Dennis, will take the board in January. So this is somebody that would potentially either fill the next couple of months and then be elected in and then continue to serve, or they'd be on here for a little bit and then rotate off. So really, regardless of who we pick, I think either one is going to be able to do a very good job. And again, no hard feelings either way, but I think the engineering background is going to be a good bit of knowledge to have on the board, especially as we are faced with more complex engineering related quandaries in the next foreseeable future. With that said, I do hope that both of you, regardless of who wins the election, continue to stay involved, because as I said, you're both very, very competent, very capable people, and I'd love to have the expertise along for the ride, so to speak. But for the position that's going to be serving for the next couple of months, my personal pick is also Dennis.
All right.
Jen, you have a question? Yeah, he's right here. Yeah, he's actually just quietly been at a bunch of the meetings, but it's very easy to not see Dennis. He just kind of sinks into the background there. He's very quiet, but will speak up when there's something that needs to be said for sure. So, yeah, so I'll make a motion to appoint Dennis Warner as the supervisor for the Board of Supervisor vacancy.
And I'll second it.
Motion made by Peter, second by Jesse. Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye. All right, number 12. You do it if you can.
I thought we had to go to the. Yeah.
All right, number 12, annual audit. As of September 4th, 2025, Barbara Atkins has terminated her professional relationship with the township. We will check with PSATs and other townships who to get in for the next year. Number 13, trick or treat night, Friday, October 31st, 6 p.m. to 8. Signs. Hoboken Trinity Church, car show is October 4th. They would like to put a sign on the grass strip in front of the Lutheran church so that people entering in either direction on 422 can see the sign. The Haunt PA would also like to put signs up in the same area for the haunted house. Now, my question is that state? I don't know who owns that land. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't know who owns the land.
So I think this is one of those things that every time we ask, the state says it's theirs, but then when they want us to do something, they ask us to do it. So I don't know. I'll defer to the wisdom of the attorney, but I have half a mind to just say do it and no one's going to care.
I just want
Yeah, it's the
I want to make sure I'm understanding the request.
Yeah.
The request is by Hoboken
Trinity Church.
Church to put a sign on the grass strip of another church's property.
No, it's a,
No, it's in that grass strip that's like where 420.
In the planting strip on their own property.
Here,
It's a
easier just to
different-
show a map,
It's a different property.
Yeah.
Hold on.
but it's not owned by like, it's not like it's
There's,
separate parcel,
there's the
right?
old church here, but here's 422 and
Yep.
here's
Talking about
this
that triangle there.
parcel.
They're actually talking about that. That's not owned. It's part of the highway.
This is owned.
That's owned by those people, but we're talking about this bit here, like that grass triangle, which is
In the right, in the
it's in the right of
right.
way.
Well, right.
No, nobody, that's the problem. Or it's in the right of way for the highway, so it's not specifically like Dan owns this. It has no name attached to it.
It's not this one.
Yeah,
It's this one.
It's that one. It's PA municipality, probably.
I wouldn't, just because the ownership is unclear, I wouldn't sanction it.
Okay. So
If they want to,
let me,
if they want to put the sign in the right of way, I guess that's their prerogative, but.
yeah, let me, I think the takeaway on this from Colin is it's not ours, so you can't ask us for permission.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think I said this at the last meeting, but right of way, thinking about it conceptually, goes over property, right? So there's still underlying property rights that someone owns, but the state or the municipality has a right to exist there to provide a public thoroughfare. In this case, the church would need the consent of the holder of the right of way and the underlying property owner. I don't think the township is the underlying property owner, so we can't give that consent.
It's fair enough.
You understand where we're coming from? Okay, good. All yours.
All right, fair enough.
No, we're not allowed to approve it because it's not ours. Yeah, that's the stipulation on that is that's not our decision to make whether you do or don't.
Yep. All right, 15, Berks County Association of Township Officials. 2025, Berks County Convention Center is at Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Why is this so repeated? 9 p.m. at Ole Valley Fair Center. Need to be responded by October 1st.
Yeah, we got RSVP by the 1st.
we need to let them know. So if you guys want to go, then.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let you know closer to time. If I can go, I'll go, but
Okay. All right, employee reviews. Reviews are due for Lisa and Carl. We gotta do those.
Yeah.
Roads, 17, road maintenance, update and document 5-year maintenance plan to get roads fixed and maintained.
Carl's working on that.
Yep.
So for everybody that was curious about the road stuff, we're getting into a more prescriptive cycle of things. So one of the things that Carl is actively working on is getting together the packet of roads for the next 5 years of what roads would we be doing with our liquid fuels money. Obviously, if something comes up, if there's some horrendous emergency or we lose a culvert or something like that, we might have to pivot. But every year for the next 5 years, we will have the bid packet ready to go out essentially on January 1st. So we'll be extra prepared to try to get in the front of the line for road work getting done. as well as having anything that we would want to chase grants for, essentially locked and loaded and ready to go. So we're hoping that will help not only save some money next 5 years or so, but also speed up how fast the road work gets done too.
All right, number 18, Sheridan Road South and drainage and pavement improvements. Carr needs to reject the change order. 19, Bowling Road fill overflow matter agreement. No discussion on this item due to possible litigation. Item 20, road issues. Number 1, Hunsker Drive visibility issues, possible painting in corners. 2, sinkhole at Forge Road. Able Recon was out to evaluate. They declined to do the project. SDE is trying to convince DEP to allow the work to be done as a maintenance to reduce or eliminate permitting and reduce overall costs. This will take more time upfront, but would be worth the savings and likely would save overall.
So just as a side note, we're not talking about a little pothole. This is like 6 foot wide. Thank you. Yeah, the pothole in question here isn't just a tiny little pothole. It's like 6 foot wide and like 5.5 feet deep. It is quite the sinkhole that we're going to have to remediate on that. So we're still trying to figure out the exact how on that, and Roy is working diligently on trying to make sure that we can go through the process as agilely as possible and hopefully avoid a whole bunch of permits.
For Huntington Road, didn't Carl get signs up
He did.
there?
I don't know if he put them up, but he did get some like
Okay.
caution children signs.
And there's no corners there to paint?
Yeah, there's no things. We were talking about other pavement markings potentially for the alleys, but Carl's still looking at that.
Or we can like take that off.
You could take that off. That's safe to take off.
All right, so number 3, the road crew has been out for the past few weeks filling potholes. 3 loads this month were done. Number 4, guardrail damage near 150 School Road. Quote received from WMORS,
William and Sons.
William Orr and Sons. Oh, okay. For $7,267.50.
We received check from the insurance company for this repair.
As of yet, no. So this was originally being run through the other gentleman's insurance. I believe he's actually just going to cut us a check.
Keep that.
The gentleman, like this wasn't coming through our insurance. The gentleman that hit the guardrail was filing it through his insurance for damages, and I believe he's actually opted to pay this out of pocket rather than going through his insurance.
Yes, he did sign an
So
agreement.
he signed it. What's that? Well, there's nothing to vote on. So we signed a letter of acknowledgement between him and ourselves that he was going to pay for it one way or the other. He agreed to that. And right now we're just waiting to see the check roll in, whether it's from the insurance or from him. Really doesn't matter as long as the guide rail gets fixed. Nope. Like I said, nothing to approve, nothing to motion on.
Colin comes back, he did say there was something we did need to motion on with
We
that.
can always circle back to it. Yeah.
All right, so 21, 25 road projects. That equals $530,041.30. Number 1, Main Street plus Richland Road was $157,708.70. School Road, Schmaltz to Church was $146,368.12. School Road, Church to Marion Drive was $186,685.96. Woods Road was $76,329.72.
Now road,
And Canal, we're going to do a grant, so we're not, that 120 is old.
well, that 120 is valid, but it's not being done. So we opted to move Canal Road. There's 4 roads that are being done, which Jesse just listed off. Canal Road is actually being pursued for a dirt and low volume gravel road grant. That amount, the 120,657, was not the entire length of canal. It was only the length of canal between Maine and Sheridan. However, with some discussion from Berks County Conservation District that hands out that particular grant, they're actually potentially interested in doing more of it as part of the grant submission. So you actually had more than John on that. I don't know if you have anything to say on that, but
I'll be meeting with the Conservation District next month. His back grant is drainage improvements. So the 120,000 that is called out there is really just a paving portion of it. There's going to be a significant amount for the drainage portion, which looking to get covered with the grant.
It's perfect. Cool, thank you, Troy. Certainly. 1, 2, 3, and 4, so Main Street and Richland, School Road from Smalls to Church, School Road from Church to Marion Drive, and Woods Road will all be done per the contract by the October 31st. Not Canal. Like I said, Canal was, after some talk with BCCD, was a good candidate and is a strong likelihood of it getting funded. So we opted to move that one over to dirt and low volume gravel road grant so that we could hopefully have a very minimal expenditure on that and get it fixed better rather than just a simple repave. As Troy mentioned, some of the stuff is regrading the road in some spots and adjusting some of the drainage. Fingers crossed.
Now that you're back, number 20
Guide rail.
for the guide rail, that letter that we all signed,
Those
I think you said we needed to,
Is there anything we need to do?
Yes, we want to ratify township's consent to that agreement.
You want to make a motion or you want me to?
I don't care. Doesn't bother me.
I'll make a motion to ratify the consent of the agreement from, what was the guy's name? The property owner to replace the guide rail that he damaged.
And I'll second it.
Jesse second.
motion made by Peter, second by Jesse, roll call Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye. All right, number 22, Blue Spruce, 4405 Conrad Weiser Parkway, no new business on this item. 23, 85 Main Street, Twilight Acres Land Development, approval of a waiver from the insurance requirements under Section 8 of the improvement agreement. I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion made by Jesse, second by Peter, roll call Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye. All right, and then number 24, Aldino 6, no new business on this item. So supervisors' comments. Peter?
No additional comments for me, other than don't forget the chicken barbecue.
No additional comments for me. Lisa?
No.
Colin?
Just one quick comment. I saw a paper circulating around town that suggested we did not properly advertise this meeting. Just for the record, when you're advertising a special meeting, you need to state a purpose under the Sunshine Act. When you're simply relocating a meeting that was already regularly scheduled, you do not need to state a purpose in that advertisement, which is why you saw no purpose. Ready to go. That's it.
Thank you, Colin. Troy, since I have it, Troy, anything for you?
Yeah, I do. So with the road project, we're looking at finishing that up probably next week, or the majority of the worked with the contractor earlier this week, and it looks like we're gonna be able to extend some of the limits on Main Street from Church to Water in the driveways. So we'll get a little bit extra saving done. That's what we're not anticipating.
Thank you. It's fantastic.
And then do we need to ask for an executive?
Do we need an executive session? I don't think we do.
Yeah, we actually just need a brief executive session to discuss a police related matter. That
Okay.
should take only a few minutes.
Okay. Well, in that case, we can adjourn the meeting and then, yep, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Time is now 8:40 PM.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Peter, second by Jesse, roll call Peter.
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Reason for executive session?
Police match. I hope this is an update on the Seiko block.